Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street, in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
Straight up on 107.1 FM with Mark Benschop.
All right, hey, guess what? Good evening. My name is Mark Benschop, and I am reporting, as you can see, from that beautiful village on the quarantine. You can see it right there. I'll give you guys an opportunity to share the link, spread the word, and let your friends and relatives and everybody, including those folks on Rob Street, right? And those folks at the office of the office of used to be president, because it's no longer that until a legitimate government is in place. And I've noticed that these folks who are in office, they want people to recognize them. Mark Phillips, who sits there as the prime minister, wants Aubrey Norton, who was elected leader of the People's National Congress, and they're waiting to see who will become the next opposition leader. Well, things are in chaos, in my opinion. They need to get their act together in the opposition, mind you, right? So whoever they put there as the opposition leader, this is what Mark Phillips is saying, that person, obviously referring to Aubrey Norton, that Aubrey Norton has to recognize, has to say that Aubrey Norton has to say that the PDP is not a illegitimate regime. That is what they want. Now, let's see what Aubrey's going to do if, in fact, Aubrey becomes the next opposition leader. Let us see what's going to happen there. It's kind of ticklish, right? Because Bharat Jagdeo is saying something totally different. Who's running the show? Do they have serious problems at Rob Street? Do they have serious problems right now? Because we are seeing, look, people are not dotish. Every single minute, guess who is speaking out more than the man who is supposed to be the president? Guess who is speaking out? This guy, Bharat Jagdeo, is all over the place. He is afraid to allow Irfan Ali to speak. It is as though you kick Irfan Ali to the curb and say, "You've got to shut your mouth, Irfan." That he, Jagdeo, will be speaking on every issue. He's talking about the budget. He did an interview with Vice News, of which I'll be talking about shortly. Many, many lies. Jagdeo, what do you get from lying? What do you get from being as dishonest as you usually are when you do these interviews? You lied about so many things in that interview with a Vice News reporter. She asked whether your government or whether you have taken a bribe. You said no. And you were kind of nervous. Look, I'm kind of good at body language and facial expression. I looked at your facial expression and your body language when that particular question was asked. And then they asked about the reporter from Vice News asked about infrastructure and these sort of things. And Bharat Jagdeo actually, I don't know, what's happening with that guy? He's talking about South Rupununi and roads that now being built in South Rupununi. Mind you, that reporter probably doesn't know, or maybe she does. She looks very young. But if she's watching, good evening. Good evening to the folks at Vice News, Williamsburg there in Brooklyn. I know that office very well. So good evening to those folks. But I can't understand. For 23 years, the PPP was in office. And all the things Jagdeo is talking about, he gave this impression, or he gave the impression to that Vice News reporter that in less than 2 years, all of these things they have done. South Rupununi, you have been in office for 23 years. Your party, of which over 12 plus years you were in office, you, Bharat Jagdeo, you guys didn't do anything much about infrastructure, broken roads, damaged roads, money gone into friends' pockets, and all these things. South Rupununi, wasn't it in existence during the 23 years that you guys were in office? Let's take away the couple of years that you weren't in office, Bharat Jagdeo. But what about the 12 plus years that you were in office? You didn't think that South Rupununi needed roads, right, Bharat? So you lied to that reporter. Lots and lots of lies. Now let's take a, oops, there we go. I bet, let me see, I will look at some of your comments. You wouldn't know where this is, right? You guys wouldn't know where this is. Look at the road. And this is not something that they expect the coalition government to fix in just under 5 years, of which they spent 2 years of all sorts of things because of a Judas in the camp. And maybe they have more still in the camp. But that one particular Judas who actually sat there in Parliament and you know what he did. Maybe for cash grip, whatever. I don't know. But you guys know what he did. Look at this pothole. Oh, yeah. I know what might be going through some of your minds. When you look at that pothole, a Jagdeo comes to mind. But if you watch that interview with Vice News, you all will know exactly what I'm talking about. The lies, and more lies. By Bharat Jagdeo, he was extremely uncomfortable because he knew that he wasn't telling the truth. He lied about Amila Falls. He lied about the contracts, infrastructure, and the roads, and all of these things. He lied, and he lied, and he lied. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I really shouldn't say that he lied, right? I really shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that he lied. What he did, he strayed from the truth. He wasn't honest. He didn't man up. The latter might be a bit difficult. But during their years in office, all of these things, they weren't concerned about these things, but yet they expected, right? 23 years in office. What the heck they expect? David Granger, President David Granger, to take one of those magic sticks and just wave it across Guyana and everything will be hunky-dory for the 23 years of torture, of all sorts of things that happen, the corruption and every single thing, the neglect of the people, including their stronghold. And yet, Father Jagdeo is going to sit there in that interview with Vice News and lie. I think the reporter knows exactly. I think the reporter knows exactly what happened. Somebody's saying that they're not hearing me clear enough. I don't know if that is accurate or not, right? Somebody's saying, some of you saying you're not getting me clear. Some people are saying they're getting me loud and clear. No, I don't want to be like, and shout at you. No, I don't want to do that. I'm a calm guy. Don't you guys know that? Let's get back here to this. Look at this. Jagdeo is talking about infrastructure. Margaret Nelson, you have a point. It looks like a dam. Probably is a dam. Oh, it is a dam. But this is what the farmers and all these people have to go at the back down. This is what they have to do. This is where they have to walk. Would you believe this? Look at this. Look at the trench. For almost 2 years here in office, the agriculture minister, somebody's saying it's not too clear enough. I hope my operator can ensure that I am clear enough. Some people getting me clear, some people not getting me clear. If you're not getting me clear, well, I don't know. I just don't know. Somebody's saying muffled, muffled. Somebody's saying loud and clear. Somebody's saying your voice not coming clear. It's not that clear. Let me take a quick break. Seriously, I'll have to return. Let me find out what's going on. When somebody else is saying it's clear, wait a minute. Operator, take this off. Are you guys trying to confuse me this evening? One set is saying clear. The other set is saying not clear. Then the other set is saying clear. Are you guys trying to confuse me this evening? Let me see what else you guys are saying. Is it clear? Is it not clear? Loud and clear. Loud, not clear. Those who are saying not clear, let me leave you guys alone. Computers are computers, whether they're the old IBM computers some of you might be using. Wayne Peters is saying loud and clear. Ron Fredericks is saying loud and clear. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Mark Joseph. Maybe it's your internet. I don't know. I don't know. Savitri Rose saying not clear. I will take a quick break. Seriously, because let me check with my operator. Lemon is on leave. And you guys know what happened. He's on leave here, going through some sort of investigations in the studio today. But he's on leave for a couple of days. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to find out what's happening with my voice. Seriously, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to that. I must apologize. Not sure what's going on. There is a scrambling. I don't. Some folks are hearing loud and clear. Some are not. So welcome back. Looks as though lots of folks have dropped off because of that. It's okay. I'm sure they're going to get us back. So let's continue with the show. Let me see. Hopefully the problem is actually fixed. I'm not sure. Is it okay now? Somebody's saying much better. All right. I don't know what's happening. I just don't know what's happening. The guys at the studio will have to answer to this. We'll have a meeting bright and early tomorrow morning. Right, Michelle Lowe? A meeting bright and early tomorrow morning. We have lost a tremendous amount of listeners, and we just cannot allow this to happen. Okay? We got to find out what is happening. We really have to find out. And you guys know me, I like to get to the bottom of the situation. Look, this is Alnis village. Look at Alnis, right? But let us go quickly whilst we prepare to have the member of parliament, the honorable member of parliament, David Patterson, right? Look at this here. And this is Jagdeo talking about roads, you know. Roads, Jagdeo talking about an infrastructure and all these things. But for 23 years when they were in office, they weren't concerned about these things. They didn't give a damn about these things. Okay? They just didn't give a damn about these things at all. I don't know. I just don't know. All right, thank you guys. You guys are saying I'm sounding much better now. Thank you all so much. Share the link. We have David Patterson with us, member of parliament. Look at this. And Jagdeo is talking about infrastructure. Do you know they have neglected all of these things? All of these things when they were in office. For almost 2 years they're in office now. What have they done? Other than give away billions of dollars to friends and cronies and contracts and all these things to friends and cronies. We're waiting. We noticed that Mr. Patterson is in studio with us. We're waiting to see his video, his camera up and running. But look at this here. Guess who did this? I bet you guys don't know where this is, right? Yes, Michael Reed. You're saying something that makes sense. Thank you so much, Michael Reed. Y'all tag Vice News. Tag Vice News, right? Tag Vice News. Look, let me say this to Warren Figueroa. We do not laugh people on this show. We just do not laugh people at all on this show. This show is not for that, sir. Valid. What? You guys are too naughty. All right. Thanks to that reminder, Warren. That guy is something else. But all right. So let's try to. I don't know what's happening. What our guys them did in the studio, but we'd want to get back our guest. Our guest said he wasn't hearing anything. Let's hope he joins the studio again. Come on back in the studio, Mr. David Patterson. Come on back. Look at this. Look, what did he say? Via the Turian. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But that guy has something wrong with Air Finale. I hope he comes on the show to tell us what's wrong with it. Okay, back to this here. Look at this. Look at this. All right. The Honorable Patterson is with us. But look at this. The MP is on just the right time. Former Minister of Infrastructure. He's on just the right time. But let me let you guys know where this is. This is Blackbush Polder. And let me guys show you the condition. Thank you, J.R. Crawford. J.R. Crawford left the comfort of his home. Nice television, flat screen. He left it at home and he went into this area, Blackbush Polder. Blackbush polder. Look at it. Thank you. Look at all of this here. And this is a so-called regime that is so caring. Look at Blackbush polder. Blackbush polder. Blackbush polder. Blackbush. Blackbush. Honorable MP, good evening to you, sir. How are you?
Hi, good evening, Mark. Good evening to you and your viewers. Hope you're hearing me quite okay.
Loud and clear. These people for 20-something years wrecked the country. And now Barrett Jagdeo has the audacity to talk about infrastructure wasn't in place when they took office from the coalition and all these nonsense. He's talking about some road now in South Rupununi. Honorable Minister, what's happening? Honorable MP, still Minister, what's happening with Barrett Jagdeo and these lies?
Well, you know, a bad workman blames his tools. You know what I mean? That he trying to justify what they're doing now. They trying to tell the people why the country slipped backwards in every arena. The public the corruption perception index has shown that we've dropped 2 points. You know what I mean? And so he's blaming everyone, trying to blame everyone. You mean, and that's what they do. You know what I mean? For their incompetence, their corruption, their mismanagement. Just that clip alone, you know what I mean? This is the 21st century. Never. Blackbush Polar is a PPP stronghold. If they treat their own people like that, imagine what happens in our communities that they perceive to be very supportive of the coalition. But that's Barrett Jagdeo, you know what I mean? He holds a press conference, he speaks. You can barely get in any questions, and he speaks and he gets up and he storms out, and that's the news that they carry. But they're all hogwash, all lies, all untruth. So I'm just glad, Mark, to have the opportunity to dispel some of them. You know what I mean? South Rupununi, look, we under the coalition, and it didn't translate to our votes. You know what I mean? So because the PPP went around telling the people in all those communities they can't eat roads. And those things like that, but there are new roads in Letem, Madia, Mabaruma, Port Kaituma. There's a new road all the way through to South Rupununi, the exact same place that he did. We did a brand new road because we did some new water wells, some equipment over from the Brazilian Army in 2018, 2019. Fixed that road, perfect, was a highway. It's like leaving little children in matches. So we left a really good infrastructure. Two rainy seasons has passed. No maintenance, and obviously that's where they make their money. The corruption, I mean, they wait until roads deteriorate, and then they come and say, "Oh, emergency work." They don't do it for triple the cost it's supposed to be, and then of course, and then they have a big opening. But obviously, if they were doing like we did, our regular maintenance, regular upgrades, and those things like that, move away from DBST and those things, asphalt to concrete, so that the roads can last. They won't be able to steal as much money, nor the people, they wouldn't be able to carry their cameras and let people go in front of cameras to say, "Oh my God, Barrett and your gods and your them," you know what I mean? But that's what they do. They allow things to fall to its lowest. And then, of course, when they do an intervention, then they expect people to give them the praises. Good example, Georgetown.
Go ahead, MP. Sorry.
Georgetown, because 2 years they're 18 months. I mean, any viewers that would have come in would have known that we did tremendous cleanup. They did absolutely nothing with Georgetown for 18 months. And then, of course, they had this big cleanup exercise. But all they're doing is cleaning up the garbage that accumulated for the last 18 months under them. But of course, now, I mean, as you can see, and then of course now they got the police out, and they have all the different forces out and those things like that. We didn't do that. What we did was community development. So therefore, every year we would pay. Well, of course, I mean that explains it. If it's that same picture you have there, the president.
Let me say something.
The rake.
Let me say something, Mr. Patterson. I want our listeners to compare. Look at what this guy is doing. Of course, the upside down rake. And for those who are not Guyanese, maybe those who are from Vice News or whichever other agencies watching, this guy is the installed president of Guyana, faking it with that rake. Now,
and look at the cameraman behind. Look at the people behind you. I mean,
look at what they call development. Look at this in 2022. But let me give them a perfect example of real work. Real work. And this was done by Mr. Trevor Ben. Look at this.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at this.
No, but Mark, the examples of our work are boundless. You know, what I mean, and they're trying to. If you go to Bartica, I mean that at the front, you go to Supernam. Of course, they're there and they're taking photos in our places. You know, you go to Lethem, Cashew Grove. What we did was like it was used, and then we involved the communities. I mean, and of course, there's not that many cameras. I don't know. Everything they do, they open a pig pen. They carry the entire state media, entire thing. Then they carry their mouthpiece, the critic, and those things like that. And they have a big thing. Oh my gosh, look, the minister have cleaned up a pig pen. But that's a level of competence and level of infrastructure we have at the moment. Simply just wait until every single thing collapses, come in and do a slapdash, carry the cameras, and then on the social media, there's sycophants that shouting, oh, there's a great president, there's a great vice president, there's a great government, they're cleaning up the place, but all they're doing is cleaning up the mess which they allowed to happen.
I want to stick a pin for a minute, Honorable MP. Here's why. Bharat Jagdeo, in that interview with Vice News, said that they have started a road in South Rupununi. I want you to explain that to our listeners, because when you guys got into office, there was no road, none whatsoever.
Listen, Mark, I've said this on every single program. They have not, all they're doing is continuing programs that we would have done and we would have implemented and we would have done. So all they're doing, the roads in South Rupununi, we did it. But what they allowed happen, as they're trying to keep saying, it's allowed it to deteriorate. Right? So therefore, obviously, when we did it from scratch. We cut a brand new virgin road, we built the bridges, we put in the culvert, and it was going perfect up to August 2020. They did nothing. The road deteriorated over the last 18 months, and then they're now going to redo it at triple the cost. Triple the cost. Obviously, kickbacks and those things have to happen. Because that's what a C in PPPC means, corruption. So, and then, of course, you know what I mean, and they do corruption, and then they get the people, the communities to praise them for stealing money. So that road in South Rupununi, we did that. The roads, every single thing that they're doing, I mean, they've talked about the Linden to Mbura. We did that. Under my ministry, we did that. We found the money from the British, but they're claiming it. And here's an interesting thing we viewers want to know. In May of 2019, that same Linden Mbura road that they're championing now, in May of 2019, when the team from DFID, which is the people that give the British government that's handling the money that we got, met with Bharat Jagdeo, who was then leading the opposition. And he told them, if the PPP won the elections, they would stop that road. And the British said to them, and I quoted, I said in Parliament, I said without any fear of successful contradiction, the British government said to them, if you cancel this really good project put up by the APNU, we will take away our money. That's the only way the Linden Mbura Road is continuing, because obviously the people.
But you're speaking of that same Linden Mbura Road that was destroyed by Bharat Jagdeo's regime because they tried to run some cable, fiber optic cable, that wasted millions, hundreds of millions of taxpayers' money.
Almost $10 million was paid to run a cable. When we came in, there was no cable. You know, I mean, it was done by the former president Ramatar's son. He was in charge of it, and only evidence of that cable now. People are using it as clotheslines, and the kids using it as skipping ropes, and those $10 million just disappeared. Totally, and they speak about failed projects, the PPP, and I challenge all your viewers to go on Facebook and Google. They have never done a successful project in their entire 23 years, plus they're there for 18 months now. Never done. You could name them, Marriott, Skeldon is the biggest. I mean, the Berbice Bridge. I, as a minister, had to put an order on the Berbice Bridge to stop them from raising the tolls to the people in Berbice. And do you know the people are back in office? The Berbice Bridge are their friends and family, but they're scared to even remove that order. You know, I mean, the bridges.
They haven't removed that, but here what they do, Honorable MP. They said that they reduced the price for sand truck. alone. Just
Yes,
for that.
no. For Sandtrox alone, not only Sandtrox in the budget. In the budget, they've reduced the price of vehicles on three types of vehicles. Sandtrox. You wonder why? Pickups on the 2000cc, who gonna there, and pickups over between 2000 and 3000cc. For the ordinary man and woman, they don't want to pick. They want a car. They want a means of moving around on their own. Only a certain set of our community, and you know who they are, benefits from the reduction of price in trucks, the reduction of prices in pickups and those things like that. Only a certain set of our country can afford that. And they are the people that are benefiting from this budget 2022.
You know,
I made a
corruption index.
statement. I
Corruption
made a
index.
statement during my speech. It said, "Oh, this is Santa Claus for the rich, Scrooge for the poor."
Yeah,
It's a
we all people are not that dotish.
pro-rich budget,
I know,
anti-poor.
I know, MP, you have just a few minutes, and I appreciate that. But and I'm sorry that I want to get through some questions. We know what they have done to the Berbice River Bridge. They're not concerned about the ordinary folks.
Ordinary person, no.
You guys were concerned about that, and the evidence is there. But this
Correct.
corruption index, this guy Barra Jagdeo attempted to give the impression to that reporter from Vice News, and I know that reporter is very smart. She understands exactly when people are lying, I suppose. And so he kind of gave the impression, Jagdeo that is, that corruption didn't really happen. But look at from 2016, that is when corruption started and increased only under the coalition government. Your response to that, sir?
Bullshit. Sorry, I don't know if you can say that on your program.
Okay. Sorry. I apologize.
I've been a bit more politically correct. Hogwash.
Yeah.
In 2014, the Corruption Transparency International, and everyone go Google it, Corruption Perception Index, which is an international index where they measure how corrupt a country. Guyana was at 29 points. We were 140th or something like that in the world. By 2020, we were listed as one of two countries that was able to, under the APN, we moved our corruption perception index all the way up to 41. Special mention. If you go on Transparency International, Guyana had special mention by Transparency International for the coalition government for moving it from 29, which is the lowest in the Caribbean, and we got all the way, we moved ourselves all the way up to 83rd in the world. From 140th, we moved up all the way up to 83rd in the world. And in 2020, we had the highest ranking ever on CPI index. And in 2021, we dropped 2 places. Soon as the PPP came back, exactly soon, the first full year in office, the corruption has just stepped in, and you can, and you know it. You see, everyone sees it. You know, what I mean, you have guys who only claim to fame is a fashion show. They're building a $2 million house. You know, what I mean, you have guys whose only claim to fame ever is gold mining. They're building our national fire station. You know what I mean, and the thing like that. I reveal in the parliament the company owned by Barra Jagdeo best friend. I don't know why he never answered that, and they've never refuted that. Last year, this is we're talking about New Guyana Inc. received $70 million worth of contracts, $70 million. 85 hit that New Guyana Inc. and another company received 85%. 85% of the budgetary allocation of the Ministry of Health. Never ever knocked out all the international companies, and some are called IPA, Metatron. You mean all those international companies that came to Guyana and supplied drugs and so, all of them was knocked out. But they don't speak about that. They're quiet and they're silent, and that is in the newspapers. I provided the newspapers all the evidence that how you can go. They haven't said a single word. The company owned by his best friend gets $70 million worth in 2021 alone. So corruption, I said corruption is very, I've said it in Parliament, I say it here, Mark, corruption is very comfortable with the PPP.
Well, I hope the Vice News reporter will try to get other people who will give the truth.
Well, hopefully she does, huh? You know what I mean? But sometimes the PPP even give corruption a bad name, you know what I mean? Because some corrupt guys that say, man, these guys are just overdoing it. And that's what they're doing with the Natural Resources Fund. We have our oil wealth and oil money now. They've raided and pillaged that. It's $607 million accumulated over 2 years. They've taken all on pie in the sky
Wow.
projects. You know what I mean? They're not as though, you know what I mean, these things were thought of. They're spending 104, which is about $500,000 US on a power station in Wales. No studies, no nothing, not at all. But it's all boys, money for the boys. When you peel back the veneer and you check who owns the companies, who are the associates to the companies, where the companies registered, check Anguilla, Aruba, and those things like that. Lots of them are the partners in there. And they said, "Oh, it's a foreign company." No, it's just registered foreign, but it's local guys.
Money for the boys, indeed.
Money for the boys. Money for the boys.
Spoke about Jagdeo to that reporter. Spoke about some house deal under the coalition, some property belonging to the state. I don't know what he's talking about, but I wish I can tell that reporter, and I'll try to get in touch with that reporter. Here what happened. You just mentioned it. His friend, Bobby Ramroop.
Right.
He gave away Sonata Textile deal.
5.4 acres in prime acres.
He gave away his friend a prime property opposite the U.S. Embassy. We know who his friends are.
Yes,
so
of course. You know what I mean? They are repealed with thing. And I'm hearing now, and we heard today, which thing, that the National Service ground on Carifest Avenue is sold. We're now investigating that to one of their friends and family. So they've given away more land, more anything than anyone else for peppercorn deals. You know what I mean? And then and then I heard now, Mark, you would have heard already that Watuka, all your Lindeners, they want to sell Watuka House. That Heritage House is in Linden. They're trying to sell that. Right, and they'll use some rouge about public-private partnership and those things like that. Well, we know who the private sector. The former chairman of the private sector is now the advisor to the president.
That's Winston.
Yes, Captain Jerry Gavai didn't even have the decency to serve out his term. You know what I mean? Like you have a 2-year term, serve it out, and then without, you know what I mean, to not to give the impression that you are overly. Soon as the government, the PVP got in, but he left his private sector role and went straight into
as advisor on national security.
But Mark, here's the irony of it. A week ago, a day before the PPP got in, he was speaking on behalf of the private sector, and the day after they got in, he resigned. He's a member of the PPP.
I don't know if he's a member of the PPP, but he accepted a position
in the PPP.
Yes.
No,
and it is not Brassington. Sorry, the head of the Private Sector Commission was Captain Jerry
Gavaya. That's correct.
But Brassington was head of the privatization unit.
He's back there. He's back under something called the Wales Development Authority, which is the authority looking into this Wales. Exxon is putting $900 million. The government is now putting $500 million, $1.4 billion. So that he is heading up that.
At Brassington was there were allegations of fraud leveled against Brassington. You know what's funny? He was charged.
Exactly.
He was given permission to leave the country.
Exactly.
I don't know what's happening with that.
But he was charged for the exact same thing that Jagdeo is claiming that we did. He was charged for giving away government state land at peppercorn prices, below market prices. Pradoville 2, that's where Jagdeo lives. He sold Jagdeo, and I think he sold Jagdeo waterfront property. 2 acres of water.
And I think there are some family members who are actually saying that land was actually stolen. That is ancestral land.
Right.
There's a controversy surrounding that.
That's correct. Yeah. But so Jagdeo is currently living on a land which he paid less for than a normal citizen can pay for an ordinary house lot, 5,000 square feet. You know what I mean? They charge you $1.2 million. With Jagdeo got 2 acres for $5 million.
You know, Honorable MP, before we go, look, I want to, because a lot of people probably don't know when the Marriott was being built. Not a single Guyanese worker. I was in there. I saw
Yes,
when it
you
was
are
being
there.
constructed. In fact, I saw a Guyanese worker, and that Guyanese worker was actually the guard. Take a look at this.
你好吗？你好，你好，坐下。你好吗？你好，你好，你好吗？啊，你好，坐下。啊，哎，你好吗？等一下，我上，坐下，就看谢谢。你好吗？啊，坐下，坐下，坐下，冇聲音，冇聲音，坐下，坐下。
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. MP, Maria there. Jagdeo is not concerned about Guyanese. He should tell that to Vice News, because Vice News asked him about the Chinese businesses and so forth. This is not attacking Chinese workers or Chinese investments or whatever. But I think the Vice News reporter was on to something. He should have mentioned Marriott Hotel and what he did to Guyanese with that. Not a single Guyanese worker. But he also spoke, and I know that he lied about the Amila Falls project. He tried to put the blame on the opposition then. And when you guys became government as well, explain to the Guyanese people about that failed Amila Falls project.
Mark, I'm on record of saying it out that the Mila Falls was a Ponzi scheme. And here's the background. Jagdeo was about to retire. 2 terms are up. They tried the constitutional thing and the CCJ said no. And I have always said that this was his retirement plan. So he came up with this bright idea, let's have a Milas Fall, brought in these companies, lied to the Guyanese public about the IDB funding it. The IDB, when we came to government, the IDB set out not a way. They've never ever approved that project. Give the contract for 50 to a guy called Fipmo Silal to build a road to Mila Falls. The contract he gave was they awarded the Fipmo Silal $15 million US. The actual price, we haven't even gone to the fall, the actual cost of the road, and it wasn't even finished. It was $4 to $5 million by the time we got in. So we had to put a stop to that. You already gone $30 million US just to get the road to it. The deal, the financial deal that they were about to sign would allow the China, and hear this, Mark, allow the Chinese company which they were dealing with to garnish, which when I say garnish, it means if you have money in your natural resources, they had the first lien on it. So all the foreign currency that we had, that's a deal that they were going to sign. There was no. Everybody knows that the waterfall runs dry for months. The financing was a mess. The studies were not a mess, and so and no reputable international agency wanted a piece of it. None. No matter what they say, they said Norway wanted a piece of it, but when we spoke to Norway's taken back the money. Norway said it's a bad deal. They've gone back to Norway to try and get some money from them, and the Norwegians said no. What the AP and UAFC put in place in regards to that project is absolutely correct. So, but it's a Ponzi scheme made to put there to give it's a 20-year deal. So imagine if someone was able to get 1 cent per megawatt, or even half a cent for 20 years. That is millions and millions of US. You can retire quite comfortably. Someone can retire quite comfortably on that. So it was always a Ponzi scheme. There was nothing in it. No, nothing in it that made sense at all, other than the PPP. And they're trying to do it back now. Of course, you know, I mean, they know that their time here is just very, very limited. So they're trying now with their 1-seat majority. No further studies, no further anything like that. They're trying to see if they can resurrect the dead and bring this pension scheme called the Milo Falls. It's a pension scheme for the boys. The pension scheme with which, I mean, they're not satisfied with the millions of dollars that the state pays them every month. They're going to have this project which they're going to get a half a cent or something like US every, and it's 165 megawatts. So it works out to a really billions of millions of US dollars if you sign a contract of one of your subcontractors pays you half a cent, even quarter cent per megawatt. It's a retirement fund. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's money for the boys. Nothing justifies us doing it. You know what I mean? Particularly if you're going ahead with the Wales gas ashore project, which is 1.4 billion, you're going to run this country into debt. And what are you going to do? I mean, of course, Mr. Jagdeo has immunity, right? And he'll throw up his hands, and usually you blame someone else. I mean, when I as a minister, every time you ask him, how come you did this? Why you signed a contract for CGIA? He said to me, oh, it's not me. It's Roopson, then bring it to me. And I say, all right, why not? I mean, he always throws and deflects off, just like he did in the interview with that you were telling me there.
Vice,
with Vice, throw the blame on someone of his persons, and of course
he did that, Honorable MP. He did that throughout the interview, and I knew that he was lying. He was straight.
People
knew, right?
He is a master of lies and
deception, of course.
Deception, and he
but
comes.
That Vice News reporter, I think she was on to something. She knew that he was straying from the truth. But let me ask you this. You were a minister of infrastructure. What's going on with the Chinese building the Chetty Jagan International Airport that's still incomplete? Your take on that?
Well, look, it's the exact same thing. That's why the Vice reporter asked, you know me, because when I got in, I asked the Chinese, you know, and they just smile and laugh and those things like that, you know. But you know that the Chinese are comfortable with giving gifts. So the CGIA was, just as I said about the Marriott and but the Amila, it was signed in 2011, just in 2000, just as they were demitting office. 2011, just as he was demitting office, Jagdeo, they signed this deal for 150 million US dollars with people that are very comfortable giving gifts. They just like all this, they had no plans, they had no studies, they had nothing at all. When we came in, they even had no consultants, no one overlooking it. And when we came in, the ideas that they were going to build one long runway, but soon they start to work, they realized that they have to cross over 3 or 4 creeks. They were going to move all the people into Mary North. I mean, the people, there were like 6,000 people living in Mary North for the last 30 years. They actually carried a bulldozer to bulldoze these persons out with this pie in the sky thing. So we had to rectify it, and we did. And then, of course, they came in and said, oh, yes, well, we're not satisfied. And up to now, 18 months after, they can't finish it. They're coming for another $5 million US dollars in the budget, and they're saying it's to do improvement. It's not to do improvement. It's just another one of these deals. Just another.
Let me ask you a question. It might be some folks want to know that as Minister of Infrastructure, you knew that one of the bad deals under the PPP regime signed by, and in this case, the Chinese government, I assume, for the international airport to be built or rehabilitated or whatever. You knew that it was bad. Did you?
Yes.
Did you have the power to do anything at all, or to just sit there and accept that deal?
No. So here is the facts, and I think the viewers knew this already. When we came in, the contract was $150 million. They would have already by 2015 paid the contractors about 60 or 70 million US dollars, and only 5% of the work was done. So what cabinet has said to us is, listen, so what the law said, you can terminate them, you can fire them, but you
have to pay them.
No, not pay them. You can't get back the money if you already paid them. So they paid in advance right? So it's just like if you pay 50% in advance to build a house, and all the guy did is we the land. So cabinet said, listen to me, we're not going to pay these people any more money. With the money that we have, make this project work, and that's what we did. So we tried. So we did not give them a cent more, right? But what we did is, but they already had the money. By 2015, they already had the money, and everyone knows that. And made it public, carried in the auditors. So we paid them half the money of the $150 million. We paid them more than $70 million, and they did no work. Absolutely no work. By the time we got in, they weren't even finished sand filling. So what you had to do, it's a difficult thing that you have to make up as thing.
You guys couldn't sue them?
Yes, but the problem is you can't sue them. But by the time you know how it is, Mark, by the time you should know how long our courts would take for you to get any sort of justice in it. You personally, So cabinet said, listen to me. The most important aspect of the airport was the runway. Get that right. And that runway that they opened, and the second longest in the Caribbean, is absolutely perfect. And that was the first thing finished. And then after, we said we look at the terminal buildings and those things like that. So we had a perfect runway, perfect and that's what we did. But they never mentioned that perfect runway, second longest in the Caribbean, that was completed by us. The most modern instrumentation, that was completed by us. The most modern security system was completed by us. What they've always spoke about is the terminal building. And we said, look, we said this, we're not paying the Chinese to go into no buildings. We want to have, because the life of the airport, you can redo that building, we could build that building, we could modernize that building 100 times. If the runway is not up to world class, because we're going after FAA Category 1 rating, we need a FAA Category 1, which means that any type of aircraft, commercial aircraft can land at CGIA. And that is what we ensured. That's why ensured was done with the money that they've already advanced to things set up. You get that right and get 150% right. Then after, we will look at all the cosmetic things, which is the terminal building. We build a new departure lounge, a new arrival lounge, and those things like that. But of course, these guys, they only look at without the APNU, you'd never ever had a runway.
The other thing, and that is so true, we recall also toilets. I don't know.
Oh yes. They in their bill, they had toilets, and we had to fix all of that. They had a toilet, $5,000 for a toilet bowl. That's what they had in their bill, in their contract. We had to get rid of all of that and said, let us scrap all of that. Let us make functional. Let's make a very functional airport. And then obviously, if you want to expand it, you can expand it as much as we want over time. But here is the other kicker, which when I went into the ministry, that I asked all the staff, and they said to me, Minister, we know absolutely nothing about the airport. I asked, why did we even bother building Tumeri bigger? Why did we consider, going over on the East Coast, the West Bank, or did you do, because did you do a study? Did you know that, why Tumeri? And they said, Minister, and then, but at the time, Roops and Ben had said to us in Parliament that the Chinese people came with the money waving in their hand, and they had to take it. And that's what they thought of. Absolutely no plan. Same thing is happening now. Absolutely no plan, but you have money like little kids, and you have to sit and you want to spend it. You go and buy a plenty Chico and those things like that till you bung up your belly and those things like that. No plan, no forward planning, no planning at all. I mean, today I in Parliament, I'm asking the Prime Minister, he has $20.4 billion, 100 something million US. I said to him, well, what are you going to do? He said that when the plans are finished, he'll let us know. So the Parliament will be approving on Wednesday money for projects the Prime Minister doesn't even know what's in it. That's the level of incompetence and corruption that we have in Guyana. That because of one seat majority, they have a 50-point-something% of the population. They're taking and they're raping and they're pillaging our coffers, and saying, and then going to the people and say, oh, it's transformational
Now,
project.
the people are not buying that this time around.
Oh
And I'm
yes,
sure
oh no,
the Vice News
you are,
reporter didn't buy that. He spoke about the fact that SOCO was created by the PPP, and then the APNU AFC coalition used it to go after, in other words, to hunt down PPP officials with no evidence. We all kind of laughed when we heard.
no, well, you know that. I mean, but look, listen to me. By 2015, you didn't have to hunt or look. It was glaringly obvious the corrupt practices. I mean, there are guys who were building mansions and doing things, and they're flying, and they're doing the same thing now. They're flying to Dubai and those things like that with their families, and those things started back already. So couldn't have to hunt them down. All you had to do is just look out. Yes, all you had to do is look out, look down the road. You know what I mean? And you could see persons. Yeah, wasn't even a minister. That picture of April Ali wasn't even a minister for a year.
Yeah.
And so you didn't have to hunt them down. They were just clearly corrupt, and they flaunted it in front of the Guyanese people face.
Minister, it's okay. I can still address you as minister. But let me ask you this, Honorable MP. In Parliament, a man who sits there squatting on an opposition seat by the name of whatever his name is, said that Schumann said, described you guys as man's best friend chasing after cars. Now we know who we say are man's best friends. Dogs.
Call a spade a spade.
Know who chase after cars.
Call a spade, Mark. Call a spade a spade. So you're saying the opposition are dogs.
Yeah.
And then what we're doing is like a dog running after a car or a bicycle. And then when you catch the car or the bicycle, you don't know what to do with it, you know? That is the level of representation that you have, you can get out of Schumann. And you would believe if you say anything, if anyone says anything about indigenous, he would be like, are we the first people and you're disrespecting us and those things like that. That is a level of things. I mean, I really don't pay him much mind because obviously, I mean, garbage in, garbage out. You know, I mean, I think that how he's just a airhead. I mean, listen to me. He was too shallow at Sid Cupboards. There were complaints of serious financial and criminal activities against him. I can remember that he had to be removed to allow the investigations to continue. You know what I mean? But I mean that's what you get. You know what I mean? Of course, now they come with the piousness and they say to yourself that the opposition members are like dogs. But I hope that your viewers remember these things. Next time he makes a statement, remember that this is a man that they're calling people that are representing that every single day putting ourselves there, even your lives and those things in condition out to represent the people. And this is a man that works with the government. I hope your viewers know that he's in opposition, but he's also the ministerial advisor to on aviation to Edhill, gets $500,000 US Guyana dollars a month plus free internet, free housing, free car, free a driver. So he works with the government, calls himself a member of the opposition, and yet and then makes these statements about
only in Guyana this thing can happen. This guy works with the government.
Only works with the
installed regime as an advisor, and then calls himself an opposition member.
Yes, and then tries to think. But it's interesting though, his term in office comes to end very shortly, because remember he's part of the joiners list, and they will drop him like a sack of hot potatoes.
Oh, definitely. This is
and
a guy
he will come, and he will come.
Allegations.
Yes.
Little girls. Allegations.
Well, you know them. It's
girls.
Public knowledge.
Mind you, allegations of little girls. Allegations. Schumann.
Yes.
This is a guy who, I got some information, made contact with a businessman wanting to make deals according to the information. According to the information that is alleging that this is what this guy is about. Alleging, mind you.
Correct.
Gosh, let's get him off of here, man. I hope the Vice News reporter know that Bharat Jagdeo, when he was in office, standing next to death squad members and all these different things, this guy here, right there in that photograph with Bharat Jagdeo, is Kazerki, was part of a killing squad. He himself died under questionable circumstances. That Vice News reporter got to know this is a guy that was posing up with a photograph with Bharat Jagdeo. Oh, yes. So that Vice News reporter has to know. He also spoke about the money laundering bill and the financial investigative unit and all these different things. Close off and expose his lies.
Right. Please. So when we came into government in 2015, Guyana was on the blacklist. We call you blacklisted. We were listed as one of the countries that promoted anti-money laundering and supported anti-terrorism and supported terrorism. I mean, you can remember how there was a ISIS person who ended up with a Guyanese passport and those things like that. All your viewers know. We were able to move Guyana from off the blacklist. And when you're blacklisted, you can't send money, no Western unions, no nothing. We, the coalition, were able to move Guyana off the blacklist onto out of that regime. So therefore, obviously, our banking system is freed up. The coalition set it up, the FIU. The first head of FIU was done with us when we were before we got into government. We were in parliament. We had a majority. The coalition did that. When we came into government, we appointed the first set of persons, the FIU. They do nothing. They have done nothing with regard to money laundering or combating terrorism. Even more, Mark, we were able to get us up, move us out of the tier 1 ranking for trafficking in persons. You know what I mean? Trafficking in persons. They couldn't even do that. They couldn't even. We were able. That is why under the APNUFC we were able to move significantly on the corruption perception index. But we've all started falling back right away. 2 spaces in a year. Next year it will be even further. And then, of course, they blame every single living soul, and they're dead. They're even blaming farmers, Burnham, for the status they're in now. You know what I mean? Poor chap and Desmond Hoyt, those 2 former presidents can't even sleep. And we have living presidents in Jagdeo and Ramatar. You know what I mean? There was a newspaper article which you should look at, Mark. The Canadian press, the giveaway of the Kanji Brock, where in the Canadian press, they made serious allegations that Donald Robinson and Robert Passod gave away the Kanji oil block, which is the same as size, just smaller than the Kaicho block, where all the oil is found. And they signed these contracts to give it away 2 weeks before the May 2020 general elections, in May 2015 general elections, to companies that did to farmers didn't even have like a barbershop. They didn't have an office, never had any experience in oil and gas. The directors are unknown, and the companies are making billions and millions of dollars now because, of course, everybody wants a piece of Guyana oil block. That is what the 2 former presidents would do. I mean, Bharat Jagdeo and his team with Amaila, Ramatar with Kanji. Well, this if Ali, I mean, they're just having a ball. Little boys with plenty money to steal, you know, I mean, a bigger pie, and they're just having a ball.
I guess that's exactly what it is. Honorable MP, thank you so much for your time. Take a look at that interview.
Where can I find it, Mark? If you send me the link, I'd have it.
I will send you the link. Yeah. I will send you the link. Take a look. You guys need to respond to that.
I'll do that. While I do my morning ablutions, I will look at it.
Thank you so much for your time, though. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mark. See you, and bye to the viewers, man.
Sure. Thank you, sir. All right. The Honorable MP, David Patterson there for you guys, telling it like it is and exposing Bharat Jagdeo, his lies in that interview. Tons and tons and tons of lies. There's no need for us to post it and give him mileage for his lies. You guys got to be careful of the propaganda that you post as well and share amongst each other on social media. All right. So there's no. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So there's no need to share the propaganda. Absolutely no need to share the propaganda. I don't share the propaganda. I am not going to share the propaganda. And you guys have to. You guys have to. You guys have to stop doing that, sharing propaganda. All right. So I'll be back. Let me see what else I can show you guys before. You guys wanted to see this, right? Well, this was when the Marriott was actually building.
Ni hao ma? Ni hao, bình thường. Tôi chưa? Ni hao ma? Ni hao. Ni hao. Ni hao ma? Ni hao. Tôi chưa? Hey, ni hao ma? 两太监不上，周谢，就感谢。你好吗？得谢，得谢，得谢，没经验，没经验，得谢，得谢。
All right, Moi Zingyan, Zingyan, Ni Hao Ma. All right, good. All Chinese workers. The only black worker that I saw was a guy sitting in the guard hut. Sitting in the guard hut. That's exactly what happened. All right, good. That's exactly what happened. Sitting in the guard hut. Hey, guess what? Tomorrow morning, you can't miss it. Tomorrow morning on the Gabby show with selector DJ Andre and the morning show right there. Tomorrow morning, the guest at 10 o'clock Guyana time will be Amanza Walton Desir, Member of Parliament, Amanza Walton Desir. All right, so guess what? I've got to go. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Be careful with what propaganda that you share. So please, we don't share propaganda here at all. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Can
Say,
you sing a song?
sing a song. Go ahead. Born in the Land.
No.
Which one?
Hello Wolf.
Okay, sing it quickly.
And I was thinking my new tune is gonna be famous, gonna lie and see lots of it. I wanna buy it, so I buy it. It's very easy. It's very easy. I love it. I want it so I does not mean my song very. I feel for you by later.
Good job. High five. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Spell your name.
I want to spell your name.
Spell my name.
BNCSOPEMMA.
All right. All right.
No, I want to spell mom's name.
Okay, quickly.
ANAN in Johnson. COI. Oh, no, Brian. R.
Yeah. All right. Say bye-bye. We've got to go, guys. When kids come, we just got to, we got to be, yeah, you're beautiful indeed. We just can't chase them out of the office. Bye-bye. Mwah. God bless you guys. Mwah. Bye-bye.
This is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 877 3100.
I'm in the mood, I'm feeling rude, I'm feeling hot, I want to run. The feeling exciting, so darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body. Body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body. Rub my body on your body. I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hug up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my ways. So come on, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Pulling on. I'm feeling, 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 I'm feeling. Smoke in my brain. I wanna do my thing. Work up a sweat until I soak in wet. Rub your body, show no mercy. Because I'm feeling tipsy, I'm feeling freaky. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. wanna wrap my body on your body.